I was driving to the office this morning and thinking about some of my own experiences learning skills. And one of the things that, as you know, if you've read my book, The Single Plane Golf Swing, Play Better Golf the Norman Way, I mentioned my martial arts background. I have a little bit of martial arts background, nothing fantastic, but I spent about 5 years training in martial arts. And I worked with a very, very well-known and great instructor here, very Mo Norman-like, by the way he taught and the way he was such a representation of perfect martial arts technique. So I learned from the best. But one example of what I learned was very interesting because he was teaching me a kick, basically kicking over your head. So it was a high kick. And I had to stand very close to him. So I had to stand kind of right in front of him, and I had to kick over his head or kick him above his head. Not, if you're hitting somebody, you want to kick them in the face, but we were just practicing kicking over the head. But I had to stand close. So the only way to get my leg over top of his head was proximity-wise. You had to balance yourself, rotate, and then kick. So I was doing these kicks, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't get my leg high enough, wasn't doing it well. I was frustrated, and just trying to figure it out. And one of the things, the key factor to this was you had to have the flexibility, the range of motion in place. So I had worked on the range of motion, so we got that down. I had plenty of range, but I still couldn't get my leg over top of his head. And so I said, let me watch you do it. Let me demonstrate to me what you're doing. And I watched him. And what he would do was, instead of just kicking the leg over the head, he would rotate his foot, and the foot would rotate, and then he would be able to pivot a little bit better, and then his leg would go higher. And the minute that I put my foot in the right position, my leg went right over his head. And the reason I'm bringing this up to you is it showed me in that moment how critically important the little pieces, the details are to the progressive type of program that you need to get better at this game. Because the human body is a mechanism, it's a machine. And if you change the mechanism, you change the way it operates. And that's what biophysics is all about. And biophysics has really become the fundamental approach I take when I teach. When you look at Mo's swing, it's a biophysical model. Just like this martial arts instructor was a biophysical model of technique, Mo was a biophysical model of technique. And I want you to learn his technique, but you got to match what he's doing. And it's really hard if you're doing it on your own. If you're trying to learn it on your own, you're seeing certain things. I've been doing this 30 years. I have a background in biophysics. I understand. I've done it myself, so I know how important these little details are. This is exactly the fundamental principles behind the program Single Plane 30. Single Plane 30, which we're starting December, starts next Monday, is a 30-day training program. It's teaching you these little fundamental details starting in the correct, perfect order. It's called progressive training, and it's based in biophysics. In other words, I'm not going to teach you the finish position before you've learned the backswing, right? You have to do things in the correct order. So this thing works on week 1 on the basic principles of address and grip, gets into positions of the swing. Week 2, it continues the positions of the swing, adding leverage to the club, and teaches you the braking system, how the body stops and slows down. In my martial arts example, the position of the foot helped me rotate more. So I used my body differently. That's what the braking system is using your body correctly to slow down and speed up. And then in the 3rd week, we get into more sequencing. And then the 4th week, we get into adding speed and doing drills to add the speed. It's a perfect way to train. Over 1,500 people have been through the program this year. People are joining multiple months because it's that powerful of training. We deliver a training module every single day. You train that module, and that's all you get to train for that day. And it progresses you perfectly through a perfect golf swing. Plus, I coach you through the program throughout the month. So I'm with you along the program as you're going through it, and we're all doing it together for the entire month. So join me in December. I'll put the link here in the description. And let me express to you how important it is that you train correctly, you do it in the correct way, and you get it right, because it can be a game changer. It's going to transform you. And what a great time to do it is do it now. And we'll see you next year playing the best golf of your life. So I'll put the link in below, and I'll see you in the December class for Single Plane 30.